When you think of a viral meme, you probably picture, like, something dominating your feed for a week, and then it just vanishes.
Yeah, usually.
But looking at our research today, there's a meme that caught on 6,000 years ago. It's just a shiny yellow rock that somehow never lost its hype. Welcome to today's deep dive.
Really glad to be here for this one.
So, our mission today is tracking the ultimate trajectory of gold. We're looking at how a prehistoric status symbol evolved into this, incorruptible standard of wealth.
Right, which is driving those record-breaking prices.
Yeah.
I mean, we are seeing it hit over $5,014 right now in early 2026.
Yeah, those 2026 numbers are wild. But to understand them, we have to jump way back to 4500 BCE.
Right, to the Varna necropolis in Bulgaria. The sources highlight this elite burial there with a gold scepter and a gold penis sheath, actually.
Which is definitely a way to flex your wealth.
Oh, absolutely. It's early wealth concentrating power. But the functional shift happens much later in Lydia. That's modern-day Turkey, around 630 BCE.
So that's the invention of coinage and the touchstone, right? The sources said people would rub gold against this dark stone to check the color of the street.
Exactly.
But, how did that actually change the economy? Because it just sounds like a basic chemistry trick to me.
Well, it was a simple trick, but the impact was massive. Before that, you had to trust the guy, trust the person handing you the gold, or trust the king who stamped it.
Right, you're just relying on a centralized authority.
Exactly. The touchstone meant anyone could verify purity instantly. You just compared the streak to a known sample. It's essentially decentralized financial trust.
Okay, wait, let's unpack this. If ordinary people are verifying their own currency, that grassroots trust means you don't need a central authority weighing every single transaction.
Yeah, which speeds up trade significantly.
Right, and that eventually paves the way for goldsmiths to store the metal and issue paper receipts, which is basically the dawn of modern banking.
Yeah, and that decentralized trust grew so powerful that massive governments eventually had to step in and co-opt it. By 1717, you have Isaac Newton anchoring the UK to a fixed gold price.
Birthing the classical gold standard. And under that system, inflation was virtually non-existent for decades.
Right, it was very stable.
But wait, if inflation was practically zero, why did we ever abandon it? Was the gold standard essentially just a financial straitjacket? Like, you're safe from inflation, but completely stuck during an emergency.
That's a really great analogy. Look at the mechanics of a crisis like the Great Depression. A gold standard mathematically constrains your money supply to the physical gold in your vault.
Ah, I see.
So when the economy ground to a halt, central banks couldn't just, print more money to stimulate growth or lend to failing banks.
Because they literally didn't have the shiny rocks to back it up.
Exactly. And that explains why FDR nationalized gold in 1934. He had to forcibly buy it back from citizens to legally expand the money supply. And eventually, those rigid constraints led to the 1971 Nixon shock. That's where the U.S. severed the dollar's link to gold entirely.
Which created the floating exchange rates we use today, where currencies are valued based on market demand, not a pile of metal.
Right, but unpegging gold from the dollar didn't destroy its value.
No, it unleashed it. Which brings us back to early 2026 and that $5,014 price tag.
Yeah.
The data shows central banks are driving this by de-dollarizing. But I want to make sure I understand the mechanics here. Are they just swapping dollars for gold to avoid relying on the U.S. financial system?
Well, it really comes down to political risk. Both left and right-leaning sources point out that given geopolitical tensions, holding U.S. dollars carries vulnerabilities.
Because of the threat of sanctions and things like that.
Precisely. Gold is a neutral asset. No single government issues it, and no foreign power can freeze a physical gold bar sitting in your own vault.
Makes sense.
But this rush for physical gold is hitting a wall. It's called peak gold. The mining production has basically plateaued.
Right, we're increasingly dependent on recycled gold, literally melting down old jewelry and electronics just to meet global demand.
Yeah, it's getting a lot harder to pull from the earth.
And here's where it gets really interesting to me. At the exact moment we're reaching the physical limits of mining it, we are digitizing it.
Right, the move to the blockchain.
Yeah, the sources highlight tokenized gold. But how does that actually work for the average investor?
So normally buying physical gold means paying dealer premiums, sorting out secure storage, and it's hard to sell just a fraction of an ounce if you need cash fast.
It's super clunky.
Exactly. But tokenization takes an audited physical gold bar sitting in a vault and issues digital tokens on a blockchain. Those represent tiny fractions of that specific bar.
Oh, wow.
It allows someone to buy, say, $5 worth of actual gold, trade it 247, and settle the transaction instantly.
So we're basically taking this 6,000-year-old physical relic and uploading its soul to the cloud, giving it the liquidity of a modern tech stock.
Yeah, you get the ancient trust without the hassle of carrying around heavy metal.
Yeah.
It remains the ultimate hedge against human error.
Because it's outlived every single empire that tried to control it.
Exactly.
So why does all this matter to you? Well, because whether it's buried in a Varna tomb or sitting in a crypto wallet, gold remains humanity's default setting for value.
It really does.
Which leaves you with this thought to chew on. If humanity ever establishes a self-sustaining colony on Mars with its own completely independent economy, will they rely on digital tokens backed by Earth's gold?
That is the big question.
Or will millions of miles of interplanetary distance finally be the thing that breaks our 6,000-year obsession with this shiny meme?